Haven Elderly Care Home, a simple family meeting with Dr. Rajiv and Nurse Gail turns into a high-stakes showdown of secrets, suspicions, and ghostly reunions. Francesca, a tough-as-nails 72-year-old, is fed up with her endless medical treatments and has one foot out the door, ready to join her late husband, Lorenzo. But as she recounts her 6-month saga of pointless transfusions and nurse trainee poking fests, we realise this is more than just another family drama. Buckle up for a story of frustration, fiery determination, and a medical mystery that will leave you questioning who's really in charge of her fate. But before we dive into the story, comment below with your thoughts on hospital experiences you've had or heard about. And if you enjoyed the tale, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and tap the notification bell to get updates on all new stories.
In the healthcare system, negligence in treatment, misdiagnoses, and outright inaction can lead to injury, disease, disability, or even death. At Haven of Health Hospital, where health is always the priority, these mishaps occur more frequently than they should. The staff, once sworn to protect life, now navigate a maze of oversights, bizarre events, and struggle to survive the chaos. These are their stories.
All right, folks, buckle up, because this story is a roller coaster of emotions, medical mishaps, and questionable life choices. Our story opens at the glamorous Haven Elderly Care Home, 1100 hours, in a cozy little room decked out in neutral tones, as if the colour beige could somehow heal you. We've got Dr. Rajiv and Nurse Gail sitting like they're in a high-stakes poker game. Rajiv's new to the gig, and he looks like he's mentally flipping through the Community Outreach Handbook for Dummies. Gail, on the other hand, is just eyeing him, probably thinking, this better not go sideways because I am not dealing with any rookie shenanigans today. Then there's Francesca, 72 years old, sitting there with her children, Sophia and Rocco, who keep throwing glances at each other like they're about to witness some serious drama. You can almost hear the suspenseful violins playing in the background. Now, Francesca has recently requested end-of-life care. Yup, she's done. She's so over it, she's ready to peace out, drop the mic, and go find her husband in the afterlife. And oh boy, this little family reunion has everyone on edge. But wait, they're still missing one key player, Dragana, the Italian interpreter from the council. She's like the mystery guest in this strange party, and no one can do much until she arrives because, surprise, Francesca only speaks Italian. So Rajiv and Gail are just waiting, awkwardly. They exchange a, should we just order a pizza? Look, but no time for that, because Dragana finally shows up. Dragana's here with all the warmth and charm you'd expect from a woman who just walked into a tense, potentially life-altering situation. She tosses a few friendly buongiornos around, and everyone seems to relax. Whew. Now Rajiv can get down to business. He starts explaining through Dragana why he and Gail are here. Meanwhile, Francesca's sitting there with a poker face that could rival the Mona Lisa, and she's not buying it. Before Rajiv can even get to the good part, she cuts him off, essentially saying, "Look, Doc, if you're here to change my mind, don't waste your breath." I mean, she's basically telling him, my mind's as made up as a concrete sidewalk. This lady knows what she wants, and she's not here for anyone's intervention speech. Rajiv tries to roll with it. He's playing the gentle, sympathetic doctor role. So he starts asking her some standard questions, trying to understand why she's made this choice. And then she drops the bomb. She's just tired. Tired. But not in the I need a nap sense. No, she's exhausted with this life, ready to reunite with Lorenzo, her late husband who, let's be real, is probably chilling somewhere in heaven wondering what's taking her so long. Now, this is where things get interesting. Gail, who's been quietly observing this whole interaction, has her detective cap on. You see, Francesca mentioned she's planning to stop her regular blood transfusions, a detail that, shockingly, wasn't included in the referral from Haven Elderly Care Home. Ding ding. Gail's got her something's fishy radar going off. I mean, she's thinking, You don't just forget to mention ongoing treatments on an end-of-life care referral, right? Now, Gail's experience has taught her that sometimes you just have to keep asking why until you hit the nerve. So, with the finesse of a pro, she turns to Francesca and, as delicately as possible, asks, "Francesca, can you tell us why you want to stop the blood transfusions?" Oh, and we're just getting to the good part here, folks. Francesca's about to take us down the rabbit hole. Hold on to your hats. Francesca's about to spill the wildest medical horror story you've ever heard. She starts off calm, just telling her tale like it's some regular complaint about food being cold. But oh, this is way worse than lukewarm spaghetti. Folks, brace yourselves. So Francesca has been hauling herself to the Haven of Health outpatient clinic for a blood transfusion every 2 weeks for 24 weeks. Yes, folks, that's 6 months of being stuck like a pincushion. And how did this all start? With a simple case of dizziness that sent her to the Haven of Health A&E. Everyone around her hit panic mode. Her children and caregivers thought she was having a stroke. Francesca, she thought her heart might be giving out. You know, like her dear husband Lorenzo, who passed on thanks to a heart attack. Plot twist. Turns out it wasn't her heart or even a stroke. It was just a little heat stroke. But here's the kicker. While they were running blood tests to figure out why she was dizzy, they discovered she had a low hemoglobin. So naturally, the hospital does what hospitals do best. They check her in just to observe and promise they'll fix this low hemoglobin issue. And who wouldn't believe the experts, right? Except days go by, blood bags drip into her veins, and they still haven't fixed anything. Francesca's patience wears thin, and eventually she's throwing down threats to walk out of there. And honestly, can you blame her? Finally, they let her go, but there's a catch. She has to keep coming back for these blood transfusions. Now, here's where it gets downright ridiculous. Francesca was told this would take, 2 or 3 visits? But cut to 6 months later, and she's still going in every other week. That's 12 transfusions, and her blood count hasn't budged a bit. Nada. Still sitting at a solid 7. For reference, it should be between 12 to 16 grams per deciliter for females. And the real kicker. After each transfusion, the hospital sends someone to check her blood count 3 days later, only to tell her, "Sorry, still low." And repeat, every single time. I mean, it's like Groundhog Day with blood bags. At this point, Francesca's staring down Rajiv and Gail with a look that says, "They're literally bleeding me dry and calling it treatment." Rajiv and Gail are sitting there, probably wondering if they're on some prank show, exchanging glances like, "Wait, is this even legal?" And poor Francesca, she's simmering with this quiet rage. You know the kind that builds after getting 12 pointless treatments. She feels like she's just caught in a never-ending loop of needles, blood tests and vague reassurances. It's like she's living in a surreal nightmare where the treatment never actually treats anything. At this point, Gail's got her serious nurse face on, but inside, you know her mind is racing. She's thinking, "Oh boy, this sounds like one of those no one read the fine print situations." And she's right. Gail knows from years in this field that patients' spirits usually break long before their bodies do, especially when they're led on by empty promises. So with the gentlest of prodding, Gail goes for it. She asks, "Francesca, did they ever explain why your hemoglobin isn't improving? Did anyone tell you what's causing this issue?" Francesca, recounting her saga like it's the world's most twisted medical reality show, shrugs and says, "They tell me nothing. Just that it will improve soon." I mean, at this point, it's almost like she's waiting for a miracle, like some grand reveal at the end of the season where everything magically gets better. But nope, she's just left hanging, episode after episode. And when she says, "I feel like I'm just another number in their system," you know she's over this whole blood bag circus. So Rajiv tries to be the hero here. He leans in, all calm and professional, like, "Francesca, maybe if we check your records we can figure out what's actually going on." And Francesca, skeptical as ever, finally nods, as if to say, "Fine." but don't give me another false hope. She's not asking for some magical cure. She just wants peace. And who can blame her? But hold up, because here comes the real kicker. The hospital wasn't content just giving her endless transfusions. No. They turned her into a living, breathing practice dummy. At first, it was just an experienced nurse handling the needle. But soon enough, word got out, and it was like the floodgates opened for all the newbies. Apparently, every wannabe nurse with shaky hands wanted a shot at Francesca's veins. And get this, she actually agreed at first. Everyone has to learn, she tells herself. Oh, Francesca, the things you didn't know were coming. So, it starts with 1 or 2 trainees, but pretty soon it's like a parade of amateur nurses all lining up like, hey, who wants to take a shot at Francesca today? And, I kid you not, they're saying stuff like, oh, that little old Italian lady's great for practice. Really? Did they just put out a memo? At this point, she's feeling like a human pincushion, just getting stabbed left and right. And it gets worse. These newbies are going 6, 7 tries deep, poking her until she can't even feel her arm. Her arms look like a battlefield, bruises and all. It's like they took the practice makes perfect mantra a little too seriously, but Francesca's patience totally shot. They'd come in like a parade, she says, practically vibrating with anger. One after another, taking turns as if I wasn't a person, but some anatomy dummy. And here's the best part. She knew the protocol, the number of tries per trained person. But these folks, they tossed out the rule book. Even if they somehow got the needle in right, they'd pull it out just so the next trainee could have a go. It's like she's part of some bizarre, endless training montage, only there's no rocky theme song, just the sound of needles and sighs of frustration. And honestly, by now she's completely done with it all. But wait, there's more. Francesca starts describing the way these new trainees, fresh-faced, wide-eyed, completely clueless, keep breaking every rule in the book. She's like, aren't there supposed to be guidelines? Don't they have mannequins for this? Why am I the human crash test dummy? And she's right. There are supposed to be rules, maximum attempts per person before they bring in someone experienced or the ultrasound. But somehow, Francesca's got all the rookies lined up with her as their personal test subject. And not once did anyone think to ask, hey, maybe this isn't right. All right, so Francesca is sitting there, practically boiling over as she tells her story. And let me tell you, this whole thing is like a nursing school horror story. She's got her hands flying around as she exclaims, Mamma mia, the students should not have been touching me. I went from being Francesca to just that sweet old Italian lady, then to the little old Italian lady. It's heartbreaking, really, because Francesca has gone from a person with a name and a life to just practice. She says it herself, eyes flashing with a mix of anger and sadness. I used to feel like a person. Now I'm just practice. And that, my friends, is where her patience finally snaps. So, here's the best part. They're talking about her in English, right in front of her, probably thinking she's just some sweet grandma from Italy who doesn't understand a word they're saying. Newsflash. Francesca moved to this country when she was 4. She's been speaking English longer than most of these nursing newbies have been alive. But nope, they treat her like she's invisible, like a coat rack they can practice on and then ignore. And she's over here like, Mamma mia, I've been speaking English for almost 70 years. Can you imagine? It's like they see her as a background prop, something to poke and prod for fun. And with every session, every failed IV insertion attempt, she can feel her dignity slipping further away, bit by bit. All right, buckle up, because this story just took a turn. So, 3 weeks ago, Francesca's sitting in the outpatient's clinic, dealing with the 9th painful IV insertion attempt from a staff of wannabe nurses who clearly missed the memo about human dignity. She snaps. She's had enough of being the hospital's resident pincushion and decides to put her foot down. She's like, that's it. No more needles and no more transfusions, I'm done. But what does the staff do? They act like she's a toddler throwing a tantrum, like she's the one being unreasonable here. And then, it gets even better. Francesca demands they call her a ride back to the elderly home, trying to hold on to her last shred of dignity, right? But no. Oh no. The hospital staff doesn't call her a ride. Instead, they call her code, unarmed threat. Yes, you heard that right. Suddenly 5 beefy security guards storm in, ready to tackle this 72-year-old grandma to the floor. I mean, what were they expecting her to do? Start throwing punches? Francesca's looking around like, am I on a prank show? Is Ashton Kutcher about to jump out? So, with 5 guards closing in, Francesca does the only thing she can. She breaks down in tears. She's pleading with them to think about their own grandmothers, saying, how would you feel if someone treated your nonna like this? I mean, cue the heartstrings, right? Eventually, the guards begrudgingly let her call her daughter Sophia. Sophia answers, hears the panic in her mother's voice, and tries to talk her down, begging her to keep up with the transfusions. But Francesca, unmoved. She's ready to check out and reunite with her late husband, Lorenzo. She's like, thanks, but no thanks, I'm ready to punch my ticket. Then, as a final stand, Francesca asks the hospital staff to call Helen, the manager of her care home. After some pleading, they finally arrange for her to go back. Since then, her daughter Sophia has been showing up every day, practically begging her mother to change her mind, saying, Mum, if you do not have the blood transfusions, you will die. And Francesca, cool as a cucumber, she's sticking to her decision like a champ, saying, I'm ready to go. Lorenzo's waiting for me. Now, Rajiv, our end-of-life support doctor, tells Francesca he'll give her 2 weeks to think it over. And Sophia immediately jumps in, asking if Francesca should resume the blood transfusions in the meantime. But before Rajiv can even respond, Francesca's like, nope, not going back, I'm done. And Rajiv, giving her full control, just nods and says, it's entirely up to Francesca. Finally, Rocco, Francesca's son, backs her up, agreeing that his mum shouldn't have to endure treatments she doesn't want. So, there you have it, folks. Francesca's a tough cookie, and she's ready to go out on her terms, even if it means taking on an army of security guards to do it. So Rajiv lets the family know he's going to go have a little chat with the facility manager about Francesca's situation. After all the drama, he heads out with Gail to meet Helen, the manager at Haven Elderly Home, while the interpreter, Dragana, just kind of pieces out. Job's done for her, right? Now, here's where things get interesting. Rajiv decides to prescribe Francesca a high-energy protein supplement and some antidepressants, like that's going to magically solve the fact that she's ready to peace out and join Lorenzo. And then, just to sprinkle a little more optimism on the situation, he tells Helen, the manager, to encourage Francesca to socialize, to get back out there. Yeah, because nothing says, I'm done with this life, like a rousing bingo game, right? Anyway, after all that, Rajiv and Gail head back to say their goodbyes, and cue Sophia, who's dabbing at invisible tears. Oh, classic. She chimes in to let everyone know that surprise, surprise, it's actually the anniversary of Lorenzo's death this month. Apparently, Francesca's been dropping hints about joining Lorenzo, even claiming she's been hearing his voice in her dreams. So now we're talking full-on ghost vibes, people. And just as we're all buying into Sophia's theory, here comes Rocco, Francesca's son, to basically shut it all down. He's rolling his eyes like, nah, she just says stuff like this every year around this time. She'll be fine next month. According to him, this whole thing is just a seasonal case of the miss my hubby blues. But then, plot twist. Rocco throws in a curveball. He insists that the interpreter, Dragana, probably got it all wrong. Why? Because she's not even Italian. Wait, you're telling us now. And Rajiv, the eternal voice of reason, kindly reminds Rocco that, hey, Dragana's actually a council-certified interpreter, but Rocco's not backing down. My mum speaks Sicilian, he announces, all proud. That's a whole different dialect. Wait, what? So Rocco's telling us now that Francesca's been potentially talking in another dialect this whole time. And nobody thought this was relevant earlier. And another thing, didn't Francesca seem to understand all of Rajiv's questions just fine? Like Rocco, buddy. If this was really about the dialect, wouldn't she have been giving Rajiv blank stares? Something's not adding up here. But Rajiv wraps it up like a pro, assuring Francesca that her wishes will be respected and that her case isn't just going to disappear into some dusty file cabinet. Gail, meanwhile, is itching to dig deeper. She's eyeing all these missing pieces, like the whole referral thing, the mystery behind those endless transfusions, and the weird lack of answers from the hospital. As they leave, Rajiv and Gail promise they're going to get to the bottom of this whole mess, vowing that Francesca won't just become another statistic. And there you have it, a tale of family drama, questionable medical decisions, and a stubborn nonna who's just about had it. 2 weeks later, 1100 hours. We are back in the cozy little room decked out in neutral tones. Spoiler, the colour beige somehow heals you. Rajiv, Gail, Francesca, her children Sophia and Rocco, and, drumroll please, a new interpreter named Savka, all crammed into Francesca's room. And this isn't the frail Francesca we remember. Nope, she's gained weight. She's glowing like a holiday roast, cheeks all rosy, looking like she just took a quick detour to a fountain of youth. So, get this. Gail's been doing some detective work. Turns out Francesca's hemoglobin has been hanging out at a cool 7 for years, which basically means all those transfusions? Kind of pointless. Rajiv, with this new info in hand, asks Francesca, through Savka, if she's still thinking about joining Lorenzo in the afterlife. But before the poor interpreter can even open her mouth, Francesca waves her off, laughing, "Oh please, I don't need an interpreter. In English. I've spoken English since I was a child." And then she hits them with, "I'm not ready to join Lorenzo just yet. Maybe someday, but I've got way too much to live for right now." Rajiv raises an eyebrow and, like a true pro, whips out his iPad. Plot twist alert. He's got a video from their last session, the one where she's practically on death's doorstep, saying she's ready to reunite with her beloved Lorenzo. Francesca's eyes go wide as she watches it, and then she just loses it, laughing. "Mamma mia, that woman in the video, she isn't me. She looks like me, sounds like me, but it isn't me." She's practically bouncing, saying, "My use by date hasn't come yet. I'll be around a long, long time." And Rocco, he's over there with this smug little grin, arms folded, just nodding like, "See? Told you so. My mother's not going anywhere." Meanwhile, Sophia is in the corner, visibly crushed. Yup, looks like that inheritance isn't coming through just yet. And Lorenzo? Poor guy's still waiting up there, tapping his watch, wondering when his lady's finally going to show up. And there you have it, folks. Another perfect day at Haven of Health Hospital, where rest in peace is just a suggestion, not a commitment.